Hello lovely friends, how are you all doing today? I do hope you're well. I'm well, yes, I'm indoors again. Oh, feeling nice and cosy. And I'm going to do something we haven't done for ages. I've got a little post bag to say some thank yous for. Feel a bit close. I've got some books I'm going to talk about. I've got a couple of magazines to review. Oh, tons of stuff. Can't wait. My hair is in pigtails today. This is to remind me. You know, the other day I was talking about just ploughing on without standing jobs. Look how long. My hair needs a cut. So this is to remind me. I should have done it before I filmed, never mind. But later on, all ratty ends. Anyway, yes, so, gosh, this little pile, I've got a little pile next to me, has been building up on my chair here. I haven't been in this corner for ages. I've been a bit paranoid about videoing in this corner because of the camera focus. And I think the issues have been because of light. But it's a really, really bright day today. So hopefully it'll work. Because I like this little corner. It's my favourite corner of the flat. Is it? I like my sewing corner too. I like my sofa corner. That's my comfy corner for my reading. Anyway, digressing already. Yeah, I need to bring this video to you because I've got some outstanding thank yous to say, long overdue. All of the thank yous, I have thanked people personally away from the video, but I want to share some lovely stuff with you. But also, I need this chair back. Just like it's mounting up. So, without further ado, let's get started. This lovely card, see it's been, this little cut-out paper has been stuck on. This has recently arrived, this is from Chantel. Thank you so much, lovely, and a lovely note inside. And what I really enjoyed hearing about was how she's not in the UK. Where she is, she's been expanding her garden in terms of veg or fruit growing space, as in taking more of the garden away from, I don't know, lawn flowers, whatever you had before, planting an apple tree, blueberry bushes, making more space to grow some potatoes and onions next year. Fantastic. I really, really love, actually, I mean this, I really, really love hearing from folk about how, you know, they're getting into growing their own, and it just seems like more and more of you are taking up the veg growing as time goes on, and that's great. That's great. Your own, sorry, I've got itchy eyes. Your own food, right outside your back door in many cases, no food miles. Brilliant. And the deep, deep satisfaction of that little bit of self-sufficiency is wonderful. And then I had, I've left the letter over on my other desk, never mind. I've had this beautiful print from Jan. And I'm going to put Jan's website details underneath. If you go to her website, there's a little link on it to her Etsy shop where her prints are available. Now, I wouldn't normally, you know, someone says to me like, oh, I'm not going to promote you necessarily, but I'm going to promote this because it's beautiful. So Jan sent this to me in response to, was it a video? It's like a couple of weeks ago. If you remember, I was telling the story about that really wonderful special encounter I had with Treacle, the little vixen who is being released back into the wild. I was going to say however wild London is, but London can be pretty wild. So she sent this sort of as a thank you for videos in general, but in response to that one in particular. Oh, let's make sure I don't get any reflections on it. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at those eyes. Isn't it beautiful? So the title of this print is Young Fox, from an original watercolour by Janet Taylor. This is our Jan. In 2017. So if you go to her Etsy shop, oh, there's all sorts there. Garden birds, puffins, rabbits, hares, cute one with stoats. They're all beautiful. And I just think, oh, I hadn't thought of this, but yeah, you mention it now. Perhaps, so it's on lovely artboard card. So it's, boom, ready to go for printing. Not printing, for framing. My prints are produced using archival pigment inks designed to retain their vibrant colours. Anyway, I'll put the link. It just suddenly occurred to me that if you are looking to buy a gift for someone, not me, I don't need any more gifts, thank you, looking to buy one of your family members a gift and you're a bit stuck, but if they love nature and wildlife, go and have a look at her website because they're reasonably priced. And they're beautiful. They're really beautiful. I love the puffins. There's one with the puffin. It's kind of like, it looks like it's just kicked a can. It looks like it's wandering down the street board and it's just kicked a can. Cute as pie. So thank you, Jan, for that. Beautiful wee face. Gorgeous. I've also had, honestly, I was going to say post bag's gone mad. This is about the last 3 months. So it's not like, I feel spoiled, but please don't think this all comes, my post every single day. It's not. Then I had a lovely, this card. It's so cute. Isn't that card adorable? It's adorable until I've got rabbits in my garden. Thank goodness we don't have a rabbit problem on my allotment site. This has come from Linda. We don't have rabbits, we don't have badgers, and we have the foxes, but yeah. Sweet as pie. And she sent to me a lovely tea towel. As you see, it's all beans, but then at the bottom, oh, hang on a sec, there we go. It says, is that on screen yet? I can't see. It says, be a kind human being. Yes, yes. Let us all be kind human beings. Linda, thank you so much. And it's funny because, you know, in one of the, I think the first decluttering video, and I've managed to get my hair on it already. I really need a good haircut. I was saying how the kitchen doesn't need decluttering because everything in it is in use. What I think I do need to do though is pull out my pile of tea towels. I don't rotate them. I should when I've washed, and I don't generally iron my tea towels. If I'm doing some ironing for shop stock, I might iron a couple of tea towels because it's nice, isn't it, when they come out pressed. But what I should do when I wash them and dry them is, instead of putting them back on the pile on the top, put them on the bottom to keep rotating them. Anyway, I haven't been doing that. And my 3 favourite or most in use tea towels, they're starting to fall to pieces. They're all really faded. That's fine. I love it because the cloth gets so soft, doesn't it? But one of them, I think I've had it about 20 years. I think I bought it quite soon after moving in here. And you can hardly see the design on it. It's so faded. But also, it is full of holes. It is falling apart. So I could probably do with a sort out of those bits. They won't necessarily get thrown away. They might just get repurposed as sort of, oh pardon me, cleaning rags rather than drying rags. Yeah, I may even sort of cut them up smaller, hem them again, and then they can just be little cleaning rags. So, great timing. Thank you, Linda. Perfect. Be a kind human being. Yay. Then, oh my goodness, let me show you the card as well. Am I going to the right part? Ah, yeah, I need to open this up. That's a random card. This is from Liz. Yes, Liz. Sheep and a rug, and I don't know what that is there. The design is called Magic Carpet Animals. And it's a Persian wool, late 19th century. That's kind of bonkers with the sheep on it. But Liz contacted me to say she was having a clear out of some fabric. Would I have any use for this? Well, you'll see when I show. I need to unfold it a bit. Now, the print isn't often repeated. I'm going to have to move back a bit to show you. Can you see? Yes. Yes, it's veggies. That's really lovely. Oh, and look at those leeks. Oh, hang on a sec. It's a bit hard to show because it's quite large pieces. So, yeah, anyway, she got in touch, and peas, with a picture to say she wants to get rid of. Did I think I could use it? The minute I saw the veggies, I thought, oh my goodness, yes. So what I think I'm going to do with this is sit on it for now. It's it's quite a thick cotton. It's thicker than quilting weight for any of you who sew. So it's thicker than the cottons I use for, say, lavender bags or bunting or quilting. It's more of an upholstery weight. And I think that might be some new cushions for the sofa when I move, because my current cushions, I've had them for decades, and they're all threadbare. They're so threadbare that I'm picking up feathers every day. So brilliant, thank you. Then this wasn't post bag. This is me and a friend. Do you remember, how long ago was it I mentioned this? I can't remember. I can't even remember how it came up. Was I talking about travels or something? Anyway, I mentioned about a Greek vegetarian cookbook that I'd seen months ago, like back in the spring. And I can't remember the decision-making process. I think it was like a £5, and I thought, oh, it's a bit too much or whatever. And then I rued the day. It's like, oh, I wish I'd picked it up. I mean, I love my Greek food. Never mind, I'll keep an eye out for it. And I've got some really good second-hand bookshops and charity bookshops near me. So I always go in and I go to the cookery section and I always look, and no, nothing. And I'd mentioned it to a friend and she found it. Well, she wasn't sure if it was the right one. It is the exact one. So I'd mentioned this to her and I'd said, you know, I think I probably would pay a £5 for it because, let me see. So it's new. It's a new publication. It's only come out this year, I think. It's in hardback and it's £25, which seems about standard for cookbooks, hardback cookbooks these days. So I said, you know, I'd go to a £5. She found it. It's gorgeous, quite chunky. And, this ties in with something I'm going to talk about in a minute. That's, look, figs baked in a sort of a batter, which makes me think of clafouti. Oh, I love clafouti. More of that later. Anyway, yes, it's a beautiful book. Beautiful. Oh, lima bean, pumpkin and tomato crisp bake. See, straight away, yeah, I'd eat that. Horta frittata with roasted tomatoes. Yeah, I'd eat that. I mean, I literally eat. Oh, look, there's gigantis blacki. I'd eat that. I'd eat the whole lot. So, oh my goodness, she said, she messaged me, she said, I've managed to find a copy for you. I'll pop it in the post. Post is expensive. Anyway, bless her cotton. So, obviously, I sent a cheque to her for a £5. She hadn't taken off the sticker price from the charity shop. Not charity, it was like second hand or whatever. It was £7.50. Anyway, so when I got it, I immediately messaged her to say, naughty. You said it was a £5, it was £7.50. I need to send you another cheque. She said, don't be stupid. Think of it as a gift, but I know you're too proud to take it as a gift. So pay your £5, we're done. I'm chuffed. So I'm going to Oh, excuse me. I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to having a proper browse. I'm still a little bit in the mode of catching up with stuff, other stuff. Still in that mode that's a bit too much for me to sort of properly relax and dive in. But I think, you know, as we go into the new year, yay, try some new recipes. But it must have been properly overlapping. I had continued to be looking for Greek vegetarian cookbooks, and I found this. Who's it by? Alchemina Chato. So this has been around for ages, apparently. Anyway, £2.50 I picked this up for. Again, and I think this is a bit more traditional. There's not really any pictures in it. Corfu potatoes and veg. Stuffed marrow blossoms. Millet pie. Aubergine papu sakia. I'll have to practice. A lot of Greek dishes are familiar to me and they roll off my tongue. Some of them won't be. But yay, how fantastic. So I think a bit of traditional, and the new one looks quite a sort of a slightly more modern take on some old favourites. I just did a salivate. I just did a massive salivate. You know what I'm thinking of is, what's it called? Spanakopita? You know, spinach pie. And it's in layers and layers of phyllo pastry. Oh, yes. Will I be bothered to make my own phyllo pastry? Who's got time for that? I've never tried to make my own phyllo pastry and make my own puff paste. I have made my own puff pastry, should I say. But honestly, even puff pastry, it's like, life's too short, buy a packet. If it's a short crust pastry or a pâte sucrée, like I did for the tarte citron, yes, I will make it. Puff pastry, phyllo pastry. I might have a go at phyllo, actually. Like I said, it's not... With the puff pastry, I have made it in the past. Great. Been there, done that, don't need to do it, buy it. But with something like phyllo, I've never tried. So, yeah, try before you die. Not that I've got any plans of kicking my toes up soon. Anyway, this, oh my goodness, some of you are going to be jealous. I'm not saying it to make you jealous. Can you, I don't know if you can see from... This is... Hang on. Let me hold it up and then you'll know what it is. I've got a last Homely House Christmas box. Yay! Now, I haven't opened it yet. I'm waiting for Christmas. I'm a good girl. I have delved in there for the chocolate coins and scoffed them because I'd like me a bit of chocolate. Now, I don't know who I have to thank for this. So obviously Kate at Last Homely House has sent this to me. She wrote to let me know it was coming. I got it. I wrote back, I said, thank you, thank you, thank you. It isn't actually from Kate. It's from one of her viewers. Well, it's a shared viewer. Otherwise, how would that person have known about me? So we have a shared viewer. This viewer of hers and mine got in touch with Kate to say, I'd like to buy one of the boxes, but I want to buy it for Vivi. Oh, that makes me emotional. This person, who I don't know, has decided that they wanted to give me a treat, and that's so special because, well, if you've watched any of the videos of Kate making the box with all her different makers, you might have seen, you'll have seen all my comments too watching them, because it's all beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. So I know what's in here, but I haven't looked properly. And it's all things that I really, really appreciate and love and use. And so what I've talked about with Kate is I'm going to write, because I don't know who you are, I'm going to write a thank you letter. I'll send that to Kate, and Kate's going to act as the intermediary and send it on to my mysterious benefactor. If it's you and you're watching, you know, I thank everybody. I thank everybody for anything that is ever sent, whether it's, you know, a card, a Chris shawl, a book, whatever it is. I'm truly appreciative. Okay, so now on to, oh, my knee, something else. Just before I do. So, oops, my bad. You'll have seen by now I've started to go through my books. Someone was saying, you know, get rid of the lot, they take up too much space. They actually don't take up much space at all, because they're in this alcove. It's just this one alcove. If I got rid of them, it's not a huge amount of space to put something else. There's a lot there. They will go eventually, but they need to go to a specialist seller. It's not stuff for charity. It's not stuff for eBay. I've already started to make a few inquiries, but I'm not in a hurry with the rest of these. I love them dearly. They're a huge part of my life. I'm happy for them to sit there a while longer. But obviously I have had a bit of a clear out, and I've already taken 2 big bags of books to my local charity shop, and I did them over 2 trips because they're quite heavy to carry. And the first that I dropped off, I was really good. I just dropped them off. I said hello to the staff there, and the guy who does all the books was there, and he's like, ooh, what have you brought in, sort of thing. Had a quick chat, and I said, look, I've got another bag to bring. Came back home, picked up the next bag, took it in, dropped it off with them, and then I immediately went to the book section, and he said, Vivi, aren't you supposed to be clearing your books out? You're not allowed to buy any new books. I was like, I've got space on my shelf now. I haven't. That was a lie. I don't have any space. But I was like, I'm allowed to look. Anyway, it's really good. And I was like, you know what? You're right. This is not the time to be buying books because, for example, almost this whole shelf is unread. It's got plenty of books here to read. Fantastic. So I said, you know what? You're right. I'll leave. As I was leaving, I was sort of going past the sort of homewares shelves, and something caught my eye, and I thought, you know what, you're coming home with me. So it's quite a random thing. Now the thing is, I don't impulse buy ever. I don't think I ever was much of an impulse buyer, but I've definitely trained myself completely out of that in the last few years. I do not make impulse buys. So you might think now, well, you've just made an impulse buy, Vivi. It's not really an impulse buy because I've had it in my mind for ages that I needed a replacement for something I've already got. I wanted to replace it. I bought a ladle. I'll show you in a second. Now, the reason I want to replace it is because this is the ladle I've been using for ages. It's not very pretty, it's plastic. The size of it is great though, because 2 of these ladles full is the equivalent of 1 portion of something for me. So it's a portion of soup. It's perfect. And also when I'm portioning out, when I'm doing my, portioning into the freezer, 2 scoops, perfect portion. So it's great from that point of view, but this is what's been worrying me. I don't know if this is going to pick up on the camera. Can you see how it's sort of flaking? And is that picking up? Hang on, let me move my face, sort of focus on that instead. Flaking and disintegrating. There you go. I mean, I can pull a bit off. This is going to be hard to show. Hang on, between my... You see that? Yeah, it's been flaking and disintegrating for ages. And it just gives me the heebie-jeebies because I think, in terms of cleaning, how clean am I getting it? But also, am I getting little bits of plastic in my food? Ugh. So I'd had it in mind for ages that I needed to replace this. So this purchase, like I said, it's not really an impulse buy. It is a carpe diem buy. It's kind of like I was mentioning with when I was talking about bean poles and poles of any sort as supports in the garden. Having an idea that I'm low on something or I need something, it's always great to sort of log those needs, wants, whatever in the back of the mind, so that when an opportunity arises, I can make the most of the opportunity. Made the most of the opportunity. Isn't that gorgeous? Hello you, it's like a mirror. Isn't that a beauty? It's not overly decorative. It's not silver. I don't think it's even silver plate. There's a little mark on the back. It's not a silver mark. I need a magnifying glass to look. But how beautiful, how elegant, how just utterly lovely. So much better than plastic. That now will last me to the end of my days. And even then, once I pop my clogs, it'll last someone else. Oh, I love it. Cheap as chips. Put it this way, this, second hand, cost less than this nasty bit of plastic did new. I mean, there's no comparison. Now, see, you can see it there. The only thing is, it's much less deep. It's much more shallow. So I reckon 2 of these to 1 of these. So just do a few more scoops. But I'm chuffed with that. I love it. It's just so much. It's so much nicer to look at, isn't it? It's nicer to hold. It's nicer to use. Yay! Fab. Anyway, I picked it up. I went back to the counter because the counter's like halfway through the shop. Went back to the counter and he said, "This is my book guy." He said, "You are supposed to be going out of the shop and not looking." My bad. I did look. You're going to sue me. Right, a couple of things to review. So this has been in the offing for ages. 2, just haven't had, I need to wash my bottle, I didn't have the opportunity. I think it was in September I talked about them. September and October, we're still really busy with the garden. But what I've been trying to do in November, amongst everything else, is I've been trying to have a new discipline of when it gets to 10 o'clock at night, whatever I'm doing, I stop. 10 o'clock, I stop, and from 10 till midnight, I'm allowed to do whatever I want. Generally reading, but do something that's relaxing, watch a movie, read a book, whatever it is. But at 10 o'clock, that's it. No more work on the computer, no more making parcels for the shop, whatever it is, I stop. So I finally got to look at, I've lost the page now to show you the covers. I finally got to look at these 2 magazines. This one, The Simple Things. This one, okay, so Simple Things, I don't know how long they've been going now, about 5 or 6 years. I had this magazine. I had the first 3 issues for whatever reason. Quite enjoyed them. I seem to remember enjoying them. It was a lifetime. Pardon me, it feels like a lifetime ago. It was before I went wage free. So my sister brought these down. Yeah, it was the beginning of September she brought these down. She'd read them, passed them on to me. This seems to have really changed in that time. There was an article in here I was particularly interested to read. How hard can it be to be self-sufficient? But, you know, there's really just no depth to the article at all. It really didn't explain anything further my knowledge or appreciation. So I found that the problem with this, and I think it has changed since it was first published, this felt like a glorified catalogue. It just felt that literally every other page, you know, oh, it's supposed to be simple things, but every other page is like this. Every other page it's stuff to buy. It's just this constant flogging of stuff. Flogging of stuff. There's a little jug here, £35. £35 for a little jug. Crazy. Oh, a dog's travel bed, £110. Are you kidding me? So not only is it, look, more flogging. So not only is it full of stuff that they're trying to get you to buy, it's expensive. Now, you know what? It may all be real quality stuff, you know, fancy quality stuff, but I mean, to me, to be simple things, they shouldn't cost that kind of money. I seem to remember when I first saw this years ago, there would be, for example, let's say it's the autumn because this is the September issue, there would be really beautiful photographs. I mean, this still has lovely photographs, but back then, for example, there'd be a beautiful photograph of a gorgeous rustic beat-up table, you know, in a garden, and there might be some pumpkins and squash on it, and maybe some bowls of squash soup, and maybe some leaves, and a little handmade wreath and what have you. And it would just be a lovely picture to look at. There might be instructions, simple instructions for how to make your own wreath or some pumpkin soup. Now, if that picture is in there, everything in the picture is for sale. Table from Rustic Tables Are Us, 5,050 quid, you know. Pumpkin soup for sale at whatever supermarket. Bowl that the pumpkin soup is in for sale at such and such. Yeah, I think they've really, I think they've gone completely off point. That may obviously be a reflection of who I am now and where I'm at in my life now. But yeah, I think it used to be simple things. It used to be simple pleasures. And it used to be stuff that wasn't about buying. It wasn't associated with a cost. It was about enjoying the simple pleasures of life. And now, just flogging stuff. And it's expensive stuff. So I would say, you know, if you've got a disposable income, you might still enjoy it because, you know, it is beautiful stuff in there. It's just out of my world. So no, thanks to my sis for passing it on for me to have a little browse at, but that is not for me these days. Now this one, is a bit different. Oh, and the other thing about simple things is the articles are like that one about the self-sufficiency. They are really short. There's a lot of pictures, a lot of gorgeousness, but when you go to read the actual article, it has zero depth. It's just boom. So maybe that's something else I didn't like. The articles just had no chutzpah to them. Now this one, the articles are much longer. You can see, I mean, there's very little picture stuff on the pages. They are much longer articles. That's great. Gives them a bit more time to be a bit more in depth. And this whole, I think the whole thing about this magazine is it's all about mindfulness. But the whole thing felt it's sort of a bit cut and paste journalism, cut and paste writing. It's all that kind of stuff we've heard before, you know, sort of like, if you're having a stressful day, take time out of your day to have a cup of tea. Make your cup of tea a ritual. Whatever. I ain't got time for rituals with cups of tea. I'm busy. I'm getting stressed reading about having to make a cup of tea a ritual. I'm sorry. I know, look, I'm sure some of you like having a ritual cup of tea, but what I'm trying to get at, I suppose, is it's that level of writing that we've seen it all over the place. We probably see it in the Sunday supplements from our newspapers, the colour supplements. It's these little pithy little aphorisms, you know, the kind of like you see on Facebook. Every day is a new day. You can be a new person every day. You know, you kind of dig down into a little bit and realise it has zero substance. Zero substance. So, again, it's a no from me. I kind of wonder as well if that's partly that I think I just have gone off magazines. I think it's possibly as simple as that. I'd rather read a good book that has, you know, that goes into depth on a subject, or if it's a story that, you know, takes me all that way, something I can get really, really stuck into. So I think I'm really glad, like I said, that my sister gave me those two, passed them on to say, here, have a look at these, but not for me, not for me. I'm not saying that all magazines wouldn't be. I do get a magazine from Ethical Consumer once every 2 months, but that's, you know, that's, how to put it, that's kind of like serious articles all about ethical consumerism, and it's sort of scoring and testing and delving into companies, that sort of thing. It's more, you know, current affairs type journalism. But yeah, these kind of being mindful, simple thing, nah. Anyway, that's all a bit neggy. I don't mean it to be neggy. I'm glad I had the opportunity to look at magazines again, but it's, if nothing else, it's confirmed to me, no, I don't need to be having subscriptions to magazines like this that are like £5 or £6 an issue. You get 2 books for £5 in a charity shop if you're lucky. Now, talking of books, this is much, much, much more fun and much more up my street. So you might have seen this on the pile in the video, and I was showing you the chaos of my room. This one, Narrowboat to Carcassonne. Carcassonne is in the south of France. It is, actually it's quite a famous, is it even a UNESCO town? I'm not sure, but it's quite, I mean, it's famously beautiful. It's a fortress, a hill fortress town. Stunning looking. Never mind Carcassonne. This book is all about, it's Terry Darlington and his wife, and they're Whippet, hence narrow dog. It's a narrow dog on a narrow boat. Their adventures of taking their narrow boat from Stone in, is it in Staffordshire? It's in the north of the UK. They want to go to Carcassonne in the south of France. They are crazy. They plan to sail their narrowboat across the channel and then get into the French canal system. I won't say any more in case you want to read it, but really thoroughly enjoyable read. And what I love any book that's got a map in the front of it. It's just like, it's like being a kid again, isn't it? You know, when books like The Lord of the Rings and all those books that had a map at the front, and you could kind of really immerse yourself into it and picture yourself in that world. Fab. So yeah, loving a map. So it's a really charming read. Obviously it's a travel book. We meet all sorts of people along the way. Yeah, I won't say too much more. The thing that amazed me about them is it's a really youthful voice. It took me ages to realise, because they kept talking about retired, but I was thinking, oh, they've taken early retirement, they're my age. They're not, they're in their 70s. And, oh, shock horror, people get old. No, what I mean is, what I loved about it, the voice is so youthful. It's sort of, it's a wonderfully hopeful book, the idea that, you know what, it's never too late to give something a go, even something as hairy as taking a narrowboat across the Thames, but it's never too late to try something new. It's never too late to have a new adventure, and you're never too old to get into trouble, or you're never too old to go to the pub with your dog and just sit for the afternoon, drinking beers in the French sunshine. I loved it. Loved it from that point of view. Really easy read. His voice is really strong in it. Yeah, it's just sweet, happy, at moments hair-raising read. Also, the whole narrowboat aspect of it, the ups and downs of having a narrowboat. Loved it. Lovely, easy, happy, perfect read for my 10 o'clock, stop everything and read till midnight to relax. Perfect. And something I've talked about before, and this is the case with this scenario as well, because I've had the Narrow Dog to Carcassonne I picked up relatively recently, 3 or 4 months ago. The next book I've had on my shelf for quite a while, and it's very typical of me that the books will have a thread to them. So having read that, this next book made perfect sense because it's also set in France. Mentioned it briefly the other day. One more croissant for the road. Again, hang on a minute. Loving a book with a map. So this is a really cute premise. This is the writer, I haven't finished it yet, but the writer is Felicity Cloak. She writes for The Guardian. What's her column called? Yes, it's a weekly food column she writes called How to Cook the Perfect ... So she's a foodie. She's also really into cycling. And she'd had a couple of cycling trips in France anyway. And then this brainstorm idea came to her. Why not make her own Tour de France based on food? So there are references to the cycling in here, but it's not a cycling sport book. The chapters, there are 21 chapters for the 21 stages of the Tour de France each year. The last chapter, the last stage, is ending up in Paris, as the tour does each year. But what she cleverly did, hang on a second, she'd made up her mind to have 21 stages. And so for each stage, the idea was for each stage she would go to the town to source a classic French dish. So there are 21 French dishes, and what I'm loving, let's have a quick whip round and then you'll know if you fancy reading it. So she lands in Cherbourg, starts off with mussels, then gorgeous omelette, then oysters, and then galettes. It's like a pancake, folded pancake galette. Where does she go? Oh, tarte tatin. She goes to Hotel Tatin to eat her tarte tatin. Then we come through Limoges, which there are bits in it as a vegetarian, whatever, but that's Limousin beef. Oh, and here we go, cherry clafouti. Bayonne for chocolate, and then there's pot chicken, Provençal soup, ratatouille. What is that? Cheese. I'm not sure. I haven't got here yet. Lyonnaise salad. Dijon. I guess she's going to have some mustard. Quiche Lorraine. Madeleines. I love madeleines. What is that supposed to be? Onion soup, croque monsieur, Paris and croissant. So, I always think I'm not a foodie. I'm not a foodie, I'm not a cook, but I think I kind of do like food. What I'm loving about this so far is it's part travel book. I love travel books. Without travelling these days, I can quite happily immerse myself in a travel book and really feel myself somewhere. You know, okay, it's not the same, but it's a jolly good substitute if you can't travel. So it's part travel book. There are the lovely references to the tour. It's part recipe book. So for each of the towns and each of the dishes she's having, she's included a recipe. It's part cultural history. Obviously it's set in France, pretty much my favourite country outside of the UK. So there's all this sort of cultural history. And there's a lovely bit in each chapter as well, which is, she calls, what's it called? Cafe Pause. and it's not to do with her journey, but it's a little bit of a particular history. So there's one bit that's specifically about French breads, all the different French breads, or there's another section on the notoriously difficult to negotiate opening times of French businesses. Yeah, never before 1 o'clock, not after 1 o'clock, never on a Monday, open, Sunday through till Sunday, that Sunday, but only after lunch and only after... Anyway, any of you who've ever spent any time in France will know about the chaos of French opening times. So I highly, 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 highly recommend One More Croissant for the Road. If you are a travel book fan, if you're a food fan, if you're a Francophile, I think you will love it. It's great. I'm really, really loving it. And I'm really loving getting back into reading. This is, it's like I was saying at the end of my thoughts on month 55. I keep having to remind myself which month it is. It's this thing that I look forward to each year of the garden is done. It's this wonderful pause of sort of December through to February when the garden isn't taking up hours and hours and hours of my time. The garden and harvesting and processing and preserving food from March through till the end of October is a full-time job. I mean, it can easily be 40 hours a week, sometimes more, obviously sometimes less. But yeah, winter is here, or you wouldn't really know it today, it's so bright, but winter is here, and because winter is here, it's time for me to start reading again, and I am loving every single second of it. I've got my next 2 books lined up. They're not France, they're not travel, but they are sort of first person, quirky, diary kind of, you'll see, I'll tell you about them when I get to them. One of which, sorry, excuse me, glug, glug, glug. One of which was a present from one of you, so I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in and being able to thank you again for it. I thanked you already, but I can't wait to read it and report back to you. Anyway, I think that's enough for now. Chat, 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 chat. I do like to chat. What am I doing next? I've got no idea. We'll just see. We'll just go with the flow. I know what I'm doing next. I'm going to turn the camera off and cut my hair. I will see you soon, I hope. It may be more decluttering. Whatever it is, it'll be soon, I hope. So until then, please look after yourselves and each other. And if you can, carve out a little bit of time each day to do some reading, if reading is your thing. If you haven't done it for ages, just go up to your bookshelf now. Go up to your bookshelf, close your eyes. We did this last year, do you remember? And loads of you did it and had fun. Go up to your bookcase with your eyes closed, boom, stick your finger out, whatever it lands on, just read it. You may love it. All right, gorgeosities, I'll see you soon. Cheerio.